Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, and this particular one is a Series 3. And the question that I want to answer in today's video is this Jeep as good, if not better, than the Cadillac Escalade? Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Doug Smith Jeep Ram Dodge Chrysler here in Spanish Fork for giving me some time with this Grand Wagoneer. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 14 around town, and then 20 on the highway with power outputs, being a whopping 510 horsepower and then 500 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, first off, I love this grayish blue color. It looks really cool, but you guys can see pretty simplistic with the design. You do have that accent piece there at the top that's all blacked out. And then popping down below, here's a quick look at the headlights, and then look at all of the silver trim here on the grille with the Wagoneer logo. And they do have some fog light action there on either side. And I do like the overall look of all of the trim pieces here. There's quite a bit happening. Now, I personally prefer the Obsidian package on the Wagoneer, but I still think that this version of the Wagoneer looks good. And if you guys are wanting the Obsidian, would be that blacked out one down there, as you can see. Coming around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 285, 45, 22 in the front and over in the rear. And you can see here with the wheel design, you got the silver on the top, and then you've got the darker coloration there on the inside. And then notice that the fender flares are actually body painted. We've got these cool blacked out mirror caps, and then look at the silver trim that goes around all of the windows, which is also pretty cool. And then you guys can see power sidestep action, and then we got Grand Wagoneer there. And then here's your full side profile with the Grand Wagoneer, and you can see that it is quite grand in size. So here's a quick look at the key fob. We have our unlock function and lock function, remote start. This is for the air suspension to lower it down, and then that's to open up the hatch. And then we got Grand Wagoneer there on the back. And popping into the cargo area, you guys can see that we've got really thick carpeting back here. I mean, seriously, like, look at this stuff. That is chunky. We do have some more storage underneath. And then you guys can see for the second row, you can just lower them down. For the third row, you can raise and lower it, which is really cool. And then when you're all done, you can just press this button. That'll lower things, well, lower the hatch down. There we go. And this is the regular version, not the L. The L has more storage space behind the third row. So here are the taillights. You guys can see all of the silver trim, and then notice Grand Wagoneer right there. And then look at the trimmer on the window too. And by the way, they do have thicker glass here with the Grand Wagoneer to help out with sound deadening inside. Parking sensors here at the rear with the cover over the receiver hitch. So wrapping things up, let me know what you guys think about the style here of the Grand Wagoneer. Now, popping inside, you guys can see we've got a sunshade here for the rear passengers. Really nice trim here on the door panel. I mean, look at the design there and then the stitching. And it's soft touch all the way down, which is really cool. And they match the coloration as well. Speaker for the Macintosh sound system, automatic with the window, and then it's a big door handle. It's like chunky. That's pretty interesting. And then again, you can see the side step. Now, in the second row here, you guys can see really nice leather seats perforated all down the center portion. Beautiful design on these seats. And when we look at legroom back here, it's absolutely fantastic. Got a little storage pocket there, got some vent action, and then we've got some more vents here. And then look at the screen down below. We've got our own climate zone here in the back. We also have heated and ventilated seats, a bunch of charging ports as well. And on top of that, headroom's really good. And I don't know if I mentioned, this particular one has a bench seat configuration. Accessing the third row is super easy. Just press this button right here, and boom. Now, once we're in the third row, you guys will notice that we've got tons of legroom. You can very comfortably fit adults back here. We've got nice padding where you'd rest your arm. You can see some USB action. That's just for the seat. And these seats look just as nice as these seats you have in the second row as well. And then tons of light coming in because we do have our own sunroof here in the back. And even the headliner back here is actually really nice. And then last but not least, headroom's good. Taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see the trim that goes across, and then also down below with all that contrasted stitching and soft touch here, even in the lower sections. All of our window controls are automatic. The mirrors do power fold in. Bunch of seat adjustments here for the front seat. You also do have massage seat function as well, and then blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then for those of you wondering, payload capacity is 1,527 pounds. And then here's the front seat. Look at the stitching, Series 3. You can see really beautiful design all down the center portion. Even the carpeting matches the kind of like bluish theme of this interior. And you can see the light controls here, pedal adjustment. The steering wheel is power adjustable. And then look at this trim that goes across, and then also on the dash. Now here's a look at the steering wheel. You can see really nice trim all around and continues that blue theme with the brown stitching. We got radio controls on the back of the steering wheel. We also have our adaptive cruise control with our steering assist, where you just have to have your hand on the steering wheel. Your gear limiter controls for the center stack as well, and then the regular stalks there on the back. Now we've got this full digital gauge cluster here in the center, which basically shows you different bits of vehicle information. This one also has the night vision, which I don't know if it's going to work because it's daytime, but I guess we'll see if it does. Oh, there we go! Look at that! That's pretty cool. Anyways, aside from that, I'd say really solid setup, really easy to use overall. Now I do have a 360 camera system here with the Grand Wagoneer. You can see out of pretty much every single angle. You can zoom in there if you're going to hook up to a trailer as well. So really versatile. As for the rest of the infotainment screen, you've got shortcut buttons on either side for the heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel. We've got our dual zone climate controls. And overall response time with the infotainment system is pretty good. It does take a second for some of the pages to load up. As you can see, the navigation's a good example. There we go. Definitely took a second. But overall, I mean, it's easy to use. Also, this has the fam cam, which is always a cool feature to have. But yeah, I like the fact we have physical buttons though for the radio. That's the big plus. We've got our analog controls for the dual zone climate down below, and then we have our secondary screen. Yes, we have yet another screen. This controls all of the massage stuff. So, you know, for example, ooh, can get a massage. That's pretty nice. You can also control stuff with the climate. I mean, you got lots of stuff here, but then you can also get rid of the screen if you don't want it, and then that reveals a little charging area that includes a wireless phone charging pad inside. And then you got a bunch more controls here, so you guys can see for your auto stop start, auto hold, lane departure, stability control, parking assist, and then you've got your parking sensor, your tow haul mode, and then this is for the other screen that's over there. Yeah, so we have a passenger screen as well. It kind of functions as like a limited infotainment system, if that makes sense. It doesn't have as many controls as the center one, but it's a screen for the passenger. And then back to this area, we've got our dial shifter, drive mode select. We also have our air suspension adjustment. You can see we've got off-road cruise control, and that's because this actually has a 2-speed transfer case, which is pretty sweet. And then you guys can see, click that, got some cup holder action, pretty good storage there. And then I like the stitching here again. And then we have this little top storage in the center console. If you press the center, opens up the whole center console. It is a refrigerator as well. And yeah, look at the material use on the dash. Sorry about the lighting with this shot, but really nice and tight with the fit and finish. And then down below we got a pretty big glove box, also says Grand Wagoneer. And we also have a camera rear view mirror, and then you guys can see we got our controls for the panoramic sunroof, and then we have a nice premium headliner throughout. So here's our window sticker. $109,145 is the base MSRP. Total MSRP after all options, $113,135, which is fully loaded for the Grand Wagoneer, and this is probably like $20-ish thousand less expensive than a fully loaded Escalade. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, and hopefully you can see the heads-up display. Both the mirrors, 2 blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear, which is massive, but it's got pretty good visibility because you have really large windows. So I wanted to do this review because I have seen a lot of, on Instagram to be more specific, a lot of videos kind of, I guess, hating on the Grand Wagoneer. And so I wanted to kind of talk about this compared to its, you know, contemporaries, like the Cadillac Escalade, the Lincoln Navigator. And sorry, I'm just adjusting the steering wheel a bunch. To kind of talk about like where this actually, you know, stands in terms of full-size luxury SUVs. So first off, seat comfort's amazing, and also massage, which is always a nice thing. I'd say the Lincoln probably has the most comfortable seats out of the bunch, but these are a very close second, and the Escalade, the seats are uncomfortable, but the Escalade seats are in third place when it comes to comfort. Then the next thing is ride quality. All of them are really good in this segment. They're all truck-based, body on frame, 3-row SUVs, but with that being said, what I will say that's a big benefit for the Jeep is the platform this is built off of, the new Ram 1500. It's such a good platform for ride comfort, and you can really tell with this that it's good. But they're all really good when it comes to ride quality, especially when you know this with air suspension, just like you can get in the Escalade as well. The air suspension also helps out quite a bit with the ride quality. Now, so we've seats, ride quality, we've discussed interior materials. You know, I think the Lincoln has probably, I mean, this design's really cool. I'd say that this and the Lincoln are at the top when it comes to design. The reason why I knock the Escalade with design is the big screen. But when you look outside of the big screen, the rest of the interior isn't, it's not like it's poorly designed, but it's not all that beautiful. Whereas this, I feel like they've done a good job with making everything float. The same thing with the Lincoln, okay? And going over those train tracks, that really shows how good the suspension is. Again, you have to remember this has 22s, which are absolutely enormous. And then, you know, when it comes to like how quiet this is, insulation, they're all pretty close to each other when it comes to insulation. Also, I'm in off-road mode, I just realized, with the suspension. So we'll lower the suspension down to get out of off-road mode. This person behind, look at this person behind me. They're going in, look at that. This, okay, whatever. People down here sometimes are absolutely crazy. But anyways, yeah, it's now in this normal mode, the ride quality is even better. But yeah, you don't really, like, you get a little bit of wind noise. Again, it's a big, boxy SUV, but it's not that bad. Now this person's taking their arm out the window. Hyundai drivers, they're crazy. I'm just gonna turn here so that I can get away from whatever craziness this person is. My goodness. As I was saying, further comparisons here with the Grand Wagoneer. The next thing is going to be the powertrain, which we'll be able to see the acceleration in just a moment. But, you know, outside of just, you know, initial powertrain talk, I want to say it's quiet, which is nice, right? Now, the Grand Wagoneer initially came out with a V8, and now they've got this inline 6. The V8 was great, and this inline 6 is also... it's really good. It's got solid get up and go. It's pretty similar. It feels pretty similar to the Navigator. They both feel faster than the Escalade. The Escalade has a V8, but you know, we're at higher elevation here. The V8 being naturally aspirated, it's got more power loss. And then when you look at the price, I kind of mentioned this earlier, like a fully loaded Navigator is about the same price as this, so those are in line. Fully loaded Escalades, though, they're expensive now. They're like $120,000, $130,000+. And we're not talking about Escalade V, we're just talking about regular Escalade. So when you put all of that together and you put in the material use with random things like the buttons and everything like this, again, a lot of the switch gear in the Escalade is straight from a Chevy, which feels cheap. This feels a bit more high quality with the touch points. What I'd have to say is, as a luxury 3-row SUV, this is as good, if not better, than the Escalade and the Navigator. The reason why people hate on this comes down to something that I find pretty silly, and it's just down to badge engineering, right? Because the Escalade has a Cadillac badge, and Cadillac is a luxury automaker, because the Lincoln has a Lincoln badge, and Lincoln's not a luxury automaker, right? They're perceived as better, right? Whereas this, you know, they don't have a Jeep badge on it, but it's still ultimately a Jeep. It has Jeep styling. So people hate on it, which I find hysterical, because, like, people for the longest time have talked about how, like, they, you know, buy cars based on merit, not based on, you know, the badge they have. But then people talk crap on the Grand Wagoneer because of the badge that it has. They're going, it's a Jeep, it can't be nice. And it's like, no, when you compare this, again, compared to the competition, just as nice, if not better. The only thing that I could say bad about the Wagoneer is I do think that the styling on the Escalade and the Navigator is prettier. So I do think that Jeep could have done a better job with styling this to make it prettier. That's the only thing that I can knock it for. But let me know your thoughts on the Grand Wagoneer, and let me know if you agree with me in stating that, like, you know, feature to feature and how this drives and everything, it's just as good, if not better, than the Escalade and the Navigator. It's just that it doesn't have a luxury badge on it like those two.